Hello everybody and welcome to Gene's Reviews, movie reviews from a regular dude. Today I'm doing another reaction to a video I found here on YouTube. This comes from a channel called the Paranormal Scholar, and it's 5 creepy dolls scarier than Annabelle. That's pretty damn scary. So let's check this out.
Say hello to Robert, claimed to be the most haunted doll in the world. Paying a visit to Robert the doll at his current home, the Art and Historical Museum in Key West, Florida, is a memorable experience. His curiously human face is worn and pockmarked. His beady eyes are black and lifeless. However, many of the museum's patrons remember their visit for darker reasons. It is believed that underneath Robert's pitted facade and faded sailor suit, there resides a malevolent energy. Over the years, he has been blamed for causing horrible car accidents, innumerable broken bones, job loss, divorce, and an abundance of other calamities. Robert's story began around the turn of the 20th century. He is thought to have been handmade in the image of his constant companion, a young boy named Robert Eugene Otto. The two were inseparable. The boy, who went by his middle name Gene, would blame broken objects and other misdeeds on Robert. Robert stayed with Gene into adulthood and until his death. Where he went, Robert went. Their relationship was unhealthily possessive. In Gene's mind, Robert was not a doll, but a living entity. Gene Otto was so attached to his doll that it is thought that Robert's sailor suit was most likely one of Gene's own boyhood outfits. After Gene's death in 1974, Robert was purchased by Myrtle Reuter. Footsteps and giggling would be heard coming from the room where Robert resided. There were even reports that the doll's expression would darken whenever anyone spoke badly of his beloved Gene. It was as though Robert was always listening. Over time, it was accepted that the doll would move around the house by himself. When Robert joined the museum's collection in 1994, paranormal activity continued. Cameras and electronic devices malfunctioned in his presence, and letters began arriving directly addressed to the doll from visitors, offering apologies for disrespectful behavior or asking forgiveness. Some have speculated that a voodoo curse played a part in Robert's formative years, and may explain why so much negative energy seems to emanate from this eerie doll.
That is a really ugly doll with all those little pock marks and everything all over its face, like she was saying about voodoo. Maybe they were sticking needles in there or something. I don't know, pretty creepy.
Just like any other baby, Mandy cries in the night. Only Mandy isn't a living baby. She is a porcelain doll. The doll's nighttime sobbing was so frightening that one of her previous owners kept Mandy locked in the basement. So disturbed by constant twilight disruption, the owner felt that she could not live with Mandy in her house any longer. It was in 1991 that she was donated to the Canal Museum in British Columbia. At the museum, Mandy continues to cause mischief on a near-daily basis. Footsteps are heard when no one is around. Employees and visitors often have their lunches disappear, only to reappear elsewhere in the building. Similar to other haunted dolls, it is difficult to take a photograph of Mandy, as video and photography equipment inexplicably malfunction around her. Museum staff have claimed that the doll is so active that she would cause damage to other dolls when she was originally placed with them. These days, Mandy sits alone in her exhibition, her fractured face staring out at all who come to visit. The story of Joliet the Cursed Doll spans generations.
Those eyes look so real.
A woman who simply refers to herself as Anna G. is the 4th generation to suffer the haunted doll's curse. She has described how the women in her family are cursed to suffer the same tragedy with each generation. Each daughter is destined to bear 2 children, a son and a daughter, However, on the third day of the son's life, a sudden and mysterious illness will take the child from its mother. The boy's spirit then transfers into the vessel of the doll, so as to join those who died before him. The legacy of Joliet's curse is generations of female-only childs, all destined to share in the same tragic fate of their mothers. Despite such a terrible curse, the women of the family refuse to part with Joliet. It is said that the doll holds the 4 souls of the lost infants. To cast away the doll would be to cast away the lost children. Anna says that the haunted doll entered the family over a century ago. It was given by a family friend as a pregnancy gift to Anna's great-grandmother when she was expecting her second child. However, despite being born healthy, her son would only experience 3 days of life. The women of the family experience constant reminders of the loss of their children. At night, the sound of screaming babies, all male, emanate from the doll. It is only the mothers and daughters who can hear these cries. Furthermore, aside from losing her son, the worst part of the mother's curse is that her daughter will also lose a son, as the cycle continues.
Look at those eyes. I have a hard time believing that any of this is actually true. It's almost like, to me, this is more just a scary story to tell. But you never know, I guess. I mean, I do believe in voodoo and stuff like that, so I guess it could be. I don't know.
Peggy enjoys tormenting her victims. In 2015, this blonde-haired doll caused shock and distress amongst the online paranormal community. The doll was donated to British paranormal researcher Jane Harris by her terrified owner. She reported experiencing constant nightmares which would jolt her from her slumber, leaving her hot and shaken. It did not matter where Peggy was in her home, the nightmares persisted with increasing intensity. 2 visits from a local priest did nothing to stop the nightmares. The activity reached such intensity that the owner fell into a fever and began suffering hallucinations. It was at this point that she became convinced Peggy was at the center of her suffering, and so made the decision to get rid of her. After taking ownership of Peggy, Jane Harris uploaded a series of videos and photographs of Peggy to the internet. She immediately received an influx of emails from shaken viewers who claimed to have experienced terrifying visions of mental institutions, acute chest pains, nausea, and crippling headaches after viewing photos and videos of the doll. One woman even claimed to have suffered a heart attack after watching Peggy. The doll is also thought to be able to influence her chosen victims' dreams, even at a distance. Peggy is even said to have correctly predicted the death of one woman's cat in this way. Many people have expressed fear that the doll is possessed by an evil, possibly demonic spirit. Certainly, according to her current owner, Peggy seems to have a strong aversion to the crucifix necklace which she was made to wear by her previous owner. All in all, Jane Harris has received over 80 messages from people who were affected after watching Peggy.
See, the thing I have a problem with here is a doll is not a living thing. So how can a spirit, like, enter a doll, or a demon or anything enter a doll? I believe that it can enter a human being because I've had my own experience and everything, but a doll is not a living thing. So how, I don't know, I think these are just stories.
The old man puppet's story is chilling. Its previous owner states that he was forced to remove the doll from his home after it unceasingly terrorized himself and his wife. This is alleged to have culminated in its attempt to choke him to death. A dark shadow has often been seen near to the doll. Similar to Peggy the doll, the puppet found its way to Jane Harris, paranormal researcher and owner of HauntedDolls.com. During the first 3 months of Jane's ownership, the puppet was subject to nightly observations in controlled conditions with motion detection and night vision. Months into her experiment, she was left dumbfounded. She had captured the heart-stopping moment when the wooden doll seems to come to life. Jane had stated that she kept the puppet in a sealed glass cabinet. As the cabinet has no doors, all 4 sides would have to be lifted in order to gain access to the inside. As such, how was it that the puppet's operating cross was able to move? Jane Harris, who is also a trained psychologist, appears to be a credible paranormal researcher. Her interest in spirit attachment began in the year 2000, after the death of a loved one. The cases which she takes on are approached with both skepticism and professionalism, making this video of the old man puppet an unlikely hoax.
Okay, yeah, that was pretty creepy. How was that moving? If it's in a box, it's just set down over top of it and you can't really open any side of it. Yeah, that's pretty weird. What I was saying earlier about I believe in voodoo, but I don't believe that a spirit or a demon can go into a doll. Maybe it can, because I like I said, I believe in voodoo, people making curses and doing stuff like that. But I still kind of have a problem with it, and I kind of think that it's still just mostly stories and stuff like that. And I think like the bad things that are happening to these people with the doll there, I almost wonder if it would happen anyway, even if they didn't have the doll. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Like, comment, #BeingGene, and subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you next time.